Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. A very good morning to all the viewers. I am Hiral Tadia. Clearly, if you see in terms of where markets are concerned, some bit of positivity that has come in, and we still traded though below the 19,500 levels. You are seeing some positivity in terms of Bank Nifty as well. So that's an interesting move to watch out for. Joining us on the show to discuss individual stocks in trade today is Sharmila Joshi. Sharmila, good morning and welcome to the show, and always a pleasure to speak to you.
Good morning.
Sharmila, let's start with one of the counters, which is actually the stock of the day, if you may call it, Zomato. A strong up move coming in today's session on the way the earnings have panned out. What would you advise investors to do? Is the journey from here just beginning for the company?
So I think, first of all, great set of numbers, and we've been waiting for this kind of performance from the company for maybe 2 or 3 quarters, and they've been talking it up, but when it comes to numbers, we've not seen that coming through, and then finally we have a number which makes you happy. So now I think coming to whether you should buy at this price or not, yes, I do think that there is room on the upside, but you must bear in mind the fact that it's already gone up 10% today. So my target on the stock could be closer to, given the current scenario and the results, etc., could be about 110, 115. I think the real threat for the company would come from the ONDC, but that's still some time in happening. And even in terms of actually ordering food online, the percentages are very low in the Indian context. So even that gives you a little room for comfort. So I think all things considered, it seems that they've got their act together and things are going good for them. So yes, I think that it's time to look at the stock. In a sense, it's work in progress because I wouldn't be wildly enthusiastic about it. But yes, I think given the numbers, you can think of targets of 150.
Absolutely. The journey for it to come back to its IPO price is still far away as well overall, if you see the 5-year performance on the counter. But moving on, Vedanta is another one to focus on. You have the promoters who went ahead and sold stake yesterday, and you had two FIs who entered the counter. Now, post that, the latest is where an S&P has gone ahead and downgraded Vedanta. What's your view on the counter, and what would you advise investors to do with the Vedanta?
Frankly, I think Vedanta of late has become a stock which people are looking at from a dividend perspective. So I think if that perspective is fine, but I do think that the latest development wasn't particularly positive because this is promoters selling, and they are selling because they have debt requirements. So yes, I think the good on the on the good part you can say that new FIs have entered the stock, etc. So that is some kind of confidence coming in for the stock. But the fact that this deal happened at a discount to the market price and the fact that it is to repay debt doesn't sit too well to me. And I don't really buy stocks from a dividend sort of a perspective. So honestly, for me, Vedanta has been a worry.
Right. So that's with regards to where Vedanta goes. Moving on, Deepak Nitrite reported numbers. Clearly, the profits have dipped 36%. It's missed street estimates as well. And clearly, it's the global demand that is hitting the export side of the business. What's your view?
So the entire chemical space has been hit, because I think that COVID tailwind, during COVID, we had all that talk of China plus one. And any stock, I think, which had even the word chemical in it sort of had a run up. And now we are like coming back to reality, and that tailwind is out, and you're sort of now dealing with all the standard issues that you would face as a company. I think, whether it is inventory, whether it is global demand, pricing, etc. Within having said all that, I think the product lineup that Deepak Nitrite has and the way it is placed, it's a stock that I like. But yes, I think you're not going to see those runaway rallies. So it is a stock that I've recommended that to clients, etc. So we are invested in that sense. But as I said, I don't think that is going to be the runaway stock that it was, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Right. So that's with regards to where Deepak Nitrite goes. Moving on, Dabur has been in focus as well. In fact, if you look at Dabur as well, the stock price movement is today's session is also very interesting. 3% up move. We've seen an upgrade that has come in on that one. And it's clearly seen that the news that we were hearing of yesterday with regards to having cancer-causing agent in its honey, that does not seem to be a worry, for the markets as well as from a product perspective. What would you advise investors to do with a Dabur? Because the key question next, Sharmila, everyone is talking about is that there is a possibility of a rural slowdown that could be anticipated and on the cards in the domestic market.
Yes, precisely. I think we did see a fall in the stock because of this honey issue, and the management seems to have addressed that successfully. So I think now the focus will be back on earnings. Earnings were reasonable, but I think again the commentary was that there could be a little slowdown, and that's obviously not the best of news for any FMCG company, especially one which has the kind of product profile that Dabur has. So that's a concern that will stay, but within the FMCG basket and the valuation that it's trading at, I don't think it's a buy. But if you had the stock, I think definitely you would continue to hold because their pipeline is very strong. Whether it is the basic business that they're in, the healthcare, everything. I think if you add some of parts, it's a good business model that we are looking at, and they do seem to be able to deliver even. So the biggest concern, again, that came was this how they are going to address this honey issue, but they seem to have dealt with that pretty well. To my mind, it's a very good stock, and if you do see dips, perhaps you could use those dips to accumulate the stock.
Right. Moving on, you have a Hindalco that is in focus as well, and this is on the back of the Novelis numbers that have been announced. The first quarter has been better than what the street was estimating. What would you advise investors to do with the Novelis? With the Hindalco?
So this is a stock that I like because I think within the metal space, aluminum continues to be a story. I think that in context will do well. Of course, I think Novelis reporting better numbers than expected is a great thing because when you like one of the negatives for Hindalco that could come up would have been the fact that if you had seen any concern on their US arm. But since that has sort of surprised you positively, and I'm positive on aluminum in the domestic context, this is a stock that I continue to like. I think here the only concern that would still sort of linger is this is one sector that reacts almost immediately and very swiftly to global movement of what is happening in the metal space. So you need to keep that at the back of your mind, and the stock has still seen a bit of a run up. But having said all that, I think that this is a stock that I will continue to like.
Right, so that's with regards to Hindalco. Moving on, the pharma space has been in focus as well, Sharmila. Last couple of trading sessions, good momentum that has come in there. A lot of analysts are now positive on that front. You have Lupin, which reported numbers. Cipla, there's a stake sale and one of the FIs entering the counter. Sun Pharma reported numbers. How are you looking at the sector, and what's your view, and what would your top picks be?
So as you said, this has definitely been a sector in the news, and if you could detail back maybe 3-4 months ago when you saw export data coming from the US, and when you saw that positive trend coming in that, and that was a factor that analysts began to look at closely. You began to sense that US concerns, the pricing pressures that we were seeing, that could be turning a corner, and that things could look better from pharma from here on. Cut to this quarter and the kind of numbers that we've had, I think two trends are clearly emerging. One is that there seems to be a lot of focus on how the domestic side of the business will do for companies. And I think we have seen standout performances from Cipla and Lupin in this regard. And they have sort of moved higher from there, and they're continuing to sort of show that positive trend because it's on the back of that good data that you saw. And in a sense, that is definitely something that you can continue to build on because I think the second quarter is always better for these businesses. So I think that this is a trend that I think is going to show strength. Sun Pharma is a slightly different case because and I think it's one of those few stocks which has shown a positive return in the last 2 years. Once the COVID tailwind was sort of out, you've not really seen much of a performance from Pharma, but Sun Pharma has been the outlier in that sense. A very small uptick, but you had seen that uptick, and now it's building on that. And I think the reason for that is that though this quarter's numbers were, I think, not the best, and I think Taro numbers were also, which they had reported, were a little muted. The fact is that they've positioned themselves in the specialty chemicals basket very well. So in the sense of the product they have, the kind of pricing that they get, the margins, etc., they seem to have played that very well over much earlier than some of the other companies, and they're seeing the benefits of that. So it's a stock that I continue to like. But yes, I think the new sort of flavor could be stocks with the domestic story could look strong.
Right. So that's with regards to where pharma space goes. Moving on, Sharmila, SBI will be reporting numbers today. The anticipation is that profits could double, and this is mainly on the back of a strong loan growth, as well as there's a possibility of treasury gains that could be coming in the first quarter of FY24. What would you advise investors to do with SBI?
For me, it's a clear buy. But we have seen a little bit of a negative trend in PSU banking banks as a basket because I think you have seen some amount of trimming from mutual funds in this last quarter. But if you look at it from purely from a numbers perspective and a valuation perspective, I think that there is a fairly large upside still left in SBI from current prices. So let's wait for the numbers. I think irrespective of the numbers, I would continue to be positive on this stock.
So that's with regards to SBI. Krishna Diagnostics is another one which is up in trade today, and this is mainly on the back of the Rajasthan contract, which was for 400 odd crores, which was under contention, has come back to the company. How would you look at a Krishna Diagnostics?
For the diagnostic space, the concern has been, the kind of competition that you're seeing and the kind of pressure that is going to put on the kind of margins that they do. And you've seen this played across a whole host of diagnostic stocks, whether it's a Metropolis Lab or a Krishna, etc. Of course, I think that, if they are to get this, so the negative news was also, of course, that the government would cancel this contract because the contract size is large from Krishna Diagnostics perspective. So that I think would be a positive if you were to see that coming back. But overall, I'm positive on the diagnostic space because, especially Krishna Diagnostics, because I think it is addressing geographies which are under-penetrated and they could build on that. So this space again has been through a longish consolidation, correction, whatever. So in that sense, not I think going to run away in a hurry, but within that space, I do like this stock.
Right. And very lastly, Eicher Motors, what's your view on that one?
I think we just need to track how they really take on that whole competition that's coming up from Bajaj Auto. Because I think all things said, in the luxury market, and it's pretty, I think, a given now that that's the segment where which is seeing growth in the Indian context, both where passenger vehicles are concerned and two-wheelers are concerned. And if you are going to see this kind of a big tie-up from Bajaj Auto with a model, with a brand which is clearly, I think it's very aspirational. So you need to see how they really deal with that. I think this quarter numbers were good. My basic feeling is that, when you see this kind of an entrant in the space, it actually ends up expanding the market more than, so I don't think it will take away shares from Eicher Motors. But that remains to be seen. I think it's a stock I like. I think at current valuation, I'm not recommending a buy, but I think that's the only concern I see in the sort of way.
Right. So that's with regards to Eicher Motors. Thank you, Sharmila, for sharing those views. So overall, a lot of movement that we are seeing in terms of individual counters as we speak. That's all that we have in this session. Thanks for watching, and lots more lined up on the other side. Please stay tuned to BK Prime.